I'm Doug Davis from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Dell's Days of Deals start now with savings on select XPS laptops and Alienware PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors, plus savings on accessories and free shipping. Call 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Is this the time?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Cleveland beat the Lakers by 14 to snap the Lakers' three-game winning streak. The Cavs got a break when Anthony Davis left the game late in the first quarter with flu symptoms and did not return. Donovan Mitchell scored 17 of his 43 points in the fourth quarter to carry the Cavs. LeBron had 21 points and a season-high 17 rebounds. The Clippers are in Orlando tonight. The Rams were the only NFL team to claim quarterback Baker Mayfield off waivers. Mayfield was cut by Carolina on Monday. Mayfield has struggled since coming into the league as the number one pick in the 2018 draft. The Rams hope he can learn enough of the offense to play a few snaps Thursday night against the Raiders. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. This sports report was brought to you by MVP Accident Attorneys. When it comes to your settlement, we're a slam dunk. Call 833-MVP-WINS or check their website at themvp.com for a free case review.
When you're the victim of a car accident, hiring the right law firm can be the difference between a rewarding settlement and striking out. Call the pros at MVP Accident Attorneys at 833-MVP-WINS for your free consultation.
Call on me, your MVP.
KBLA Talk 1580.
The thrill of victory, the thrill of victory, thrill of victory. Yeah.
KBLA Talk 1580 wishes to congratulate Mayor-elect Karen Bass on her historic win as the first woman and only second African-American to serve as chief executive of the city of Los Angeles.
Congratulations, Mayor-elect Bass, and welcome back to Unapologetically Progressive KBLA Talk 1580.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me on the show, and this is my very first interview, and I am proud that it's here.
We are proud to have you here. What do you want to say to the listeners of KBLA Talk 1580?
I want to say thank you from just, I'm just full of the love that I felt every place I went in the community. And I just want the listeners to know that I promise you I won't disappoint you. I will be accessible. I will never forget where I'm from and understand that is my primary motivation.
Congratulations, Mayor-elect Karen Bass, holding all leaders accountable to you.
No matter who you voted for, no matter who you are or where you live, I will be a mayor for you.
We're KBLA Talk 1580. Talk 1580. Talk 1580. And we don't black down. We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Tavis, Smiley. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Our phone number, 1-800-920-1580. 1-800-920-1580. So glad to have you with us in this hour. Hope you enjoyed the reprise of that conversation with Ricky Minor. What an amazing guy he is. And he was just dropping bars and giving great advice, and just really appreciated Ricky Minor coming in studio with us for that conversation. In this hour, two conversations on the B side of this hour. Starting 2 years ago with mostly double-digit views per video, the Hollingsworth family never imagined that their children's YouTube series, Grace's Corner, would blow up in the way that it has. If you have never seen Grace's Corner, never heard about it, you do not want to miss our conversation with Dr. Javoris Hollingsworth on the B side of this hour as we talk about the massive success of Gracie's Corner. Again, an educational cartoon for children featuring mostly black and brown characters. So you'll want to be around for that conversation just after news, traffic, and sports at the bottom of this hour. We start this hour, though, in conversation with this year's NAACP Image Award winner for outstanding literary work. Crystal Wilkinson joins us now to talk about her book of poetry. It's called Perfect Black. Crystal Wilkinson, first of all, congratulations on that high honor, and good to have you on this program. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on.
It's my great honor to have you on. We'll talk about it and hopefully get you to read a piece or two as we move through the next 30 minutes from your book. But tell me, broadly speaking, about this book of poetry, Perfect Black.
Well, this book of poetry, I'm primarily a fiction writer. So this book is paying homage to my rural roots and paying homage to my ancestors. So, growing up in rural Kentucky, I would have never thought of myself as perfect and black. And fat. So I'm fat and black with a twang, and I would have never thought of myself as perfect. So that's kind of where the title comes from, kind of reclaiming perfection, because as black people, we're not a monolith. So I grew up in an era and a place where I was often made fun of because, my city cousins would say, girl, she's so country. And so part of what I'm doing in this book is reclaiming that. So giving a shout out to rural black girlhood, and speaking about some things that we don't often talk about in the black community.
That raises a few questions. Let me just jump right in. Number one, I love this notion of perfect black, and the fact that you're owning it. How do you define though perfect black in this context?
I think of it in two ways. So one is the black superwoman, right? Like we're always thinking about perfection, that the black woman is supposed to be strong and she's supposed to be resilient, which we are. But it's reclaiming it in that way, too, that wherever we are, however we look, whatever our backgrounds are, we can be perfect in our own right without trying to always trying to push that. Yeah. So to the little black girl that grew up in an all-white area, who would have never thought, and who was fat, who would have never thought of herself, her dark-skinned, fat self as being perfect. It's for her. So my girl self and other little girls across the country who may have grown up that way. So that's part of that reclamation. Yeah.
How much? And I obviously I'm not asking you to speak for all black people, and you're not Black America's therapist. But I wonder. But poetry can't help us in that regard. That's why I want to talk about it. But I wonder to what extent you think, just in your life's journey, you think that part of the challenge that we have, living up to the best of who we are, is that we cannot accept who we are. We can't. Many of us get comfortable in the skin that we are in, that we own this narrative that others have written about us, rather than just owning the fact that we are perfect as the black folk we are in the way that God made us.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. We're always thriving and surviving. Surviving at least and trying to thrive. And part of that is that, all those old things that our families told us early on, that you got to be 10 times better to make it. And so I think sometimes we have to stop. A big part of this book is about the African concept of Sankofa.
Yes.
Like to know where you come from as you're moving forward, to be able to look back. And often we think about, what do we carry forward? And some of that stuff we want to leave behind, right? So what do we carry forward and what do we leave behind is some of the things that I'm touching upon in this book. For example, my mother, I grew up as also the crazy woman's daughter. My mother was diagnosed with mental illness, which is something we don't talk about often in the black community. So there was always a fear of carrying that forward. But what can I carry forward? My mother was also brilliant. So not the shame. I don't want to carry the shame forward. I certainly don't want to carry forward not looking at mental illness in the family if it comes up. But she was also a brilliant artist. And I think that's why I'm a writer. Yeah. So I carry those things forward. Yeah.
As a child, Crystal, how did you navigate that stigma and that shame of being the crazy woman's daughter?
I think I navigated it through writing, right? I was looking for books. So reading books first, and then beginning to write my own. I was also a very shy child, I think, because of that. You know, growing up in a small place, a rural place, it was always like, oh, you one of them Wilkinson girls. Well, which one are you? Who's your mama?
Mm-hmm.
And then when I would say my mother's name, they would say, oh, you know, their face would change. So I grew up with that sort of ability to shift and to keep my shame sort of embedded, but also with a tenacity and a drive. You know, I'm among those first cousins who were the first ones to go to college. Mm-hmm. A lot of times it was easier for me to write something down and even hand a note to my grandmother or hand a note to my mother instead of verbalizing it because I was such a shy child. So writing for me became a big coping mechanism.
Yeah. When we come forward, I want to ask you two other questions about two things you've said already, and then we'll get you to read some good stuff from this poetry book, Perfect Black, which is this year's NAACP Image Award winner for outstanding literary work. As I said earlier, you mentioned your rural roots. I want to ask you about that. And you mentioned the ancestors. I want to ask you about that as well. Two questions about two issues that Crystal has already raised, and then we'll jump from there. Our guest right now on KBLA Talk 1580 is Crystal Wilkinson. We'll continue with her when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Good thing we've got 3 hours.
More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
Over 100 million people around the world have felt the thrill of Broadway's most spectacular musical, Disney's The Lion King. And now you can too. Experience this breathtaking theatrical event and see why the New York Times declares there is simply nothing else like it.
Give the gift that roars at the Pantages Theater, February 2nd through March 26th. Visit BroadwayInHollywood.com.
Life is uncertain. It's okay to feel stressed, anxious, worried, or frustrated. It's normal. With CalHope's free and secure mental health resources, it's easy to get the help you and your loved ones need when you need it the most. Call our warm line at 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org today.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stop the Violence, Increase the Peace Foundation is a non-profit community-based organization dedicated to fostering peace while mitigating violence in our society. Established in 1993, Stop the Violence, Increase the Peace has provided a wide variety of assistance to thousands of youth, families, and victims of violence over the past 3 decades, including intervention services, conflict and dispute resolution training, grief counseling, and victims advocacy. In addition, the foundation offers an array of classes focused on anger management, domestic violence, parenting, substance abuse, and more. To make a donation or to access services, call 323-445-8620. That's 323-445-8620 or visit www.increasethepeacefoundation.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Charmin ultra strong when you drop in the beat. It cleans with way less effort on your seat. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Okay. Charmin flows extra strong from the road. Your butt hella clean while you're sitting on the bowl. Yeah, it's all you need for that bathroom groove. Get you in and out without nothing to prove.
Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Have you been court ordered to take parenting classes? Call 323-804-8469 for a free class. That's 323-804-8469. February 6th, courtesy of Strengthening the Black Village, a nonprofit organization.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
Crystal Wilkinson, before I get you to read a piece or two from your book, Perfect Black, which is, again, this year's NAACP Image Award winner for outstanding literary work, Anxious to hear that. You mentioned two things I want to come back to right quick. One is your rural roots. We were talking in our first hour today about all things Georgia. Of course, the whole country is talking about the big race last night that Raphael Warnock pulled off in Georgia, giving Democrats 51 votes now in the U.S. Senate, and a little bit of a breathing room, I think it's fair to say, for President Biden and for those who are trying to push an agenda that is not just democratic, but an agenda that can take into consideration some of the interest of our people in particular. So congrats once again to Reverend Raphael Warnock. But there were a lot of black folk in Atlanta, of course, who voted for him. When we saw the numbers coming in from the city last night, Raphael jumped out front on those numbers. We expected that. But there are a lot of black folk who lived in rural Georgia who also went to the polls yesterday, we were told, to vote for Raphael Warnock. And it leads me to ask what your great takeaways are, two or three of them, from growing up in rural America.
Well, that was one of the reasons why I was so proud last night and so nervous watching the election. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, you think about all the movements, they all started with rural folks. All of us, every black person in America has a rural story. If you go back far enough, coming up from the South. And so, I think there's value. One of the things I like to write about is reclamation. We've grown up in eras where it's, we see in the movies even like, I'm not going in those woods, where black people are afraid to go into the woods. Yeah. And my thing is, it's probably ours more than anybody else's, that we need to reclaim the nature's capacity to heal for us. Mm-hmm. And I write a lot about that, particularly for black women, the capacity to sit by the water and to walk among the trees and, to sort of reclaim that without fear.
Speaking of reclamation, what then do you make, being a rural sister yourself, of the fact that so many of us, and this is still happening today, sadly, with black farmers, have lost, surrendered, or had our land stolen from us?
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the great many travesties of this country, in the way that land has been taken from us. But again, with reclamation, I'm involved in an organization here called Black Soil, and I don't live in the country anymore. I live in the city, but there's a whole movement that is coming with rural black farmers. My cousin just won Kentucky Farmer of the Year, which would be just sort of unheard of. And he has a small farm, and I have several cousins that are still in the farming business. I'm a professor, and so I do a little gardening, and so I don't farm anymore. But there's a whole movement of black farmers sort of uniting, and you saw Natalie Brazil wrote a book about this recently, and it's coming. I feel it like a fire. I'm in touch with those people, and that's sort of another kind of reclamation that's coming, because we have it in our blood to put our hands in the soil, and I think many of us get away from that. But there's something to be reclaimed there too for black farmers and producers of food, and growing our own food. Yeah. So I see that coming back into fruition, and sort of a reclamation of some of those ancestral lands that were removed from us.
I did not know when I asked that question that we get a chance to shout out your cousin as Kentucky Farmer of the Year, but I'm glad to do that. Give us your cousin's name. Just give him props all the way around.
David Miller.
David Miller, Kentucky Farmer of the Year. Congratulations, David Miller. I love doing that. What do you make? I said I wanted to ask about the ancestors, and I will. And in part, I'll start with this because your mother is an ancestor. But what do you make of the fact that you grew up in a small town and people knew you as the daughter of the crazy black lady, and you end up being a professor at UK, University of Kentucky. You end up being the Kentucky Poet Laureate. Now you won the NAACP Award, Image Award for outstanding literary work. I mean, that's a long way from being, from that stigma and that shame as a child that they tried to put on you. You've done quite well, Krista Wilkinson.
Yeah, I mean, with the help of my people, right? Yeah. Those here and those gone. I've always had an inclination toward looking back and finding out what I can find when I'm looking back in order to move forward, that concept of Sankofa again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I would not, even though my grandparents were third grade educated and eighth grade educated, they emphasized the importance of getting an education of some kind, even though they didn't know what that meant and didn't know that I would become a professor. My grandmother always wanted to be a school teacher. And even though she just had an eighth grade education. And so she told me that story a lot. And so I think I'm a college professor because of her. And I think that my ancestors enabled me to make anything that could have been taken as a negative and went down another path to turn those things into positives. You know, for example, being so painfully shy. What does somebody who's so painfully shy end up doing? Public speaking. But before that, writing and being able to write what I was thinking down, even when I couldn't verbalize it.
Yeah.
I have the ancestors to thank for that.
Yeah, I'm going to clean this up for radio by one word, but you'll take the point. Maya Angelou was very close to me and very close to her, like a godmother in many ways. I traveled the world with Maya Angelou. Friendship for almost 30 years. It started when I was just a kid, basically. But Maya used to always say that easy reading is darn hard writing. Easy reading is darn hard writing. And so clean that up for radio just a little bit, but you take the point, and I thought you'd appreciate that. One last question here, or actually an observation. You were talking about your grandmother encouraging you to get education. It is never lost on me, and I'm always just kind of moved every time I process this. And that is that we are part of a community and part of a lineage, part of a people who were denied education for so many, many years, and going back to working in the fields and just the story that we all know of slavery and segregation and Jim Crow and Jane Crow. As a result, so many of our ancestors were not afforded the opportunity to learn, to read and write, or be educated. And yet, even as they were denied that, they pressed us to get that. That's always fascinated me, that they knew that there was a value in making sure, and we've all heard it from our ancestors in one way, shape, or form, that what you put in your head, them white folk can't take away from you. I mean, you hear it in a variety of ways, but we've all heard that at some point in our lives. What do you make of the fact that those who were denied yet insisted that we get an education?
Yeah, I mean, I think they insisted. I remember sitting in the counselor's office with my grandparents, and they said, well, what does she want to major in? You know, I'm quiet, wouldn't say anything. And my grandmother said, I don't know, but she likes to write an awful lot. Mm-hmm. And that's how we came to my major. But they didn't know what a major was, but they knew that I needed, that this was what I needed. And I think there was a wisdom. You know, there's education that they were denied, but we come from some wise people.
Oh yeah.
Who were able to know that these were the things that we needed, and to sort of gently push us toward it. Yeah. And part of it was through storytelling. Mm-hmm. You know, one of the reasons why I wanted to be a writer is because I listened to the stories that they told, and I listened to my grandmother's longing. You know, she longed to be a writer. She really wanted to be educated. And at the time, the colored schools, as she used to call them, were far away from where we grew up. Mm-hmm. And her parents just thought it would be better for her to stay where she was and to get married instead of going off somewhere with people that they thought might do her some harm.
Yeah. No, we owe a debt to our ancestors that we will never be able to repay. It's just a debt that we cannot repay. The best we can do is make a down payment on it by doing the best we can with what we have wherever we are. But it's a debt we will never be able to repay to our ancestors. That said, you talked about reclamation. The book is called Perfect Black. It is the Image Award winner this year for outstanding literary work. And I'm looking at my clock here. I've got time for certainly one, maybe two. We'll see. Pieces that Crystal Wilkinson can share with us. So, Crystal, I'm going to pass the mic to you. You tell me what you're about to deliver and do your thing.
Okay. These are both short, so maybe I have time to read two. Okay. But since we're talking about my grandparents, I think I'll read this one first. And my grandfather was, like I said, extremely wise. And so he was known in our community for one of the wise men that you came to. And he was a dowser. Some of your audience may not know what that was. He used to be called a water witch. And so people would call on him for all these sort of practical things. Mm-hmm. But the thing that he did for me was that he always did my math homework for me. Couldn't read a lick, but was a mathematician because he had to keep his books on the farm. And so this poem is called The Water Witch on Reading, and it's in my grandfather's voice. Oh, I cipher pretty good, and can't no white man cheat me on my crops or on my change at the feed store. I'm known around these parts for being able to remove a wart with a bean. I'm the one they come to when they want their well witched, and now everybody asks me how many snows we're going to have come winter, or when they need to pull a baby from a mama's tit. Man from way off stopped here once for me to teach him how to make sorghum. Been learning all my life. I can read a map, can read a man's eyes and see if he's truthful. I can level a girder by sight. I can read the tremble in a cow's gut, a man's footprints in the mud. I can read a man's heart to see if he's right with the Lord, though it ain't my place to say. I can read time by my own shadow. I can read the corners of Christine's mouth and tell if she's mad at me. Only thing I can't read is words. And so that was for my grandfather, Silas. The wise mathematician in our family.
Yes. Beautiful piece. The second piece.
Thank you. And Christine, who I mentioned there, is my grandmother. And so this other piece is about the kitchen. I have another book called Praise Song for the Kitchen Ghost. And so my grandmother is one of my kitchen ghosts. And one thing about living rurally is that I think I was in training to be a vegetarian long ago because there was always something dead in the kitchen. So I'd come home from school and there'd be a hog's head in the middle of the tub. So that was something tangible in the middle of the kitchen. But what we didn't talk about was my mother, who at the time had been institutionalized. So this is called Asking About My Mother. In the small kitchen, the hog's head weaves the gamey scent of death throughout the house. My grandmother scrapes black hair from the hog's pink head with the sharp blade of her butcher knife. I ask her about my mother. I always ask her about my mother. I play paper dolls under a formica table with pearls around my neck and pink lipstick from my mother's treasure chest. My grandmother places the head into the tub, and I watch her hands, wait for her to tell me where my mother's gone. My grandmother fills the tub with water. I hate that she always reminds me of all she's done for love. Remember, hair, face, knife. She lifts the heavy tub and situates the hog upon the stove, covering all the burners, and turns on all the eyes.
Professor, University of Kentucky, English in the MFA and Creative Writing program is her specialty. Also the 2022 Kentucky Poet Laureate and author of the book Perfect Black, which is the NAACP Image Award winner this year for outstanding literary work. What a great joy, what a delight to have been in dialogue and to have heard her read her own stuff on this program. Crystal Wilkinson, congratulations on the big award. Good to have you on this program, and all the best to you in the coming months and years. Happy holidays to you.
All right. Happy holidays to you, too. Thank you so much.
A great honor to have you on this program. More of our program after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where truth prevails.
The tricky station is down the dial.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Georgia voters are sending Democrat Raphael Warnock back to the Senate for 6 more years. President Joe Biden called Senator Warnock to congratulate him and also tweeted that, quote, Georgia voters stood up for democracy and rejected ultra-MAGAism. Other states are reporting targeted power outages similar to the one impacting thousands of North Carolina residents. Oregon and Washington also experienced physical attacks on substations in response to an online call for strikes on critical infrastructure. Home security experts say they're not ruling out the actions as domestic violence. The life of the late Black Virginia Congressman Donald McEachin will be celebrated today. He died last week after a battle with cancer. After his passing, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said McEachin was a force for economic opportunity and environmental justice. And that's the latest. I'm Doug Davis from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Dell's Days of Deals start now with savings on select XPS laptops and Alienware PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors, plus savings on accessories and free shipping. Call 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Is this the title?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Cleveland beat the Lakers by 14 to snap the Lakers' three-game winning streak. The Cavs got a break when Anthony Davis left the game late in the first quarter with flu symptoms and did not return. Donovan Mitchell scored 17 of his 43 points in the fourth quarter to carry the Cavs. LeBron had 21 points and a season-high 17 rebounds. The Clippers are in Orlando tonight. The Rams were the only NFL team to claim quarterback Baker Mayfield off waivers. Mayfield was cut by Carolina on Monday. Mayfield has struggled since coming into the league as the number one pick in the 2018 draft. The Rams hope he can learn enough of the offense to play a few snaps Thursday night against the Raiders. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. This sports report was brought to you by MVP Accident Attorneys. When it comes to your settlement, we're a slam dunk. Call 833-MVP-WINS or check their website at themvp.com for a free case review.
When you're the victim of a car accident, hiring the right law firm can be the difference between a rewarding settlement and striking out. Call the pros at MVP Accident Attorneys at 833-MVP-WINS for your free consultation.
Call on me, your MVP.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Congratulations to Trinity Unlimited Childcare for being KBLA Talk 1580's Office of the Week. Into your business today in the KBLA app or KBLA1580.com for the Office of the Week. Congratulations to Trinity Unlimited Childcare.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a whole lot to talk about.
Hi, Maisha Cairo here, KBLA, live at Chase Bank on Crenshaw and Vernon for the In This Together tour with female business owners, a day of empowerment, community panels, and best of all, tips on building business from marketing to capital. Today I spoke with Tatiana, a community manager for JP Morgan Chase.
Thank you so much. Yes, my name is Tatiana Roberts. I am a community manager for JP Morgan Chase. I have to honestly say that this has been the most fulfilling position that I've ever had, where I get to give back to the community because I saw my mom's struggles. That's really what fuels what I do to make sure that that the community has all the access to the resources that my mother didn't have.
So for the mother who's in business, what are 3 quick tips you can give to ensure that they're on the right path to accessing financial support from a bank like Chase?
Say number 1, just make sure that you're checking your credit on a consistent basis and taking action to either fix your credit, maintain your credit, or rebuild your credit. The second thing would be budget. I know that B word is kind of like ugly for, right? A lot of people don't like that B word, but it has to be done. We need to tell our money where to go. The last thing is to build a network of supporters that are going to lift you up.
The community building here in Crenshaw is that network. So visit the Chase Community Center on Crenshaw and Vernon. Meet a banker today. Tell them about your business. I'm Maisha Cairo in the community for KBLA with JP Morgan Chase.
Did you know it pays to drive electric?
With government rebates, you'll save thousands on the purchase of a new or used EV. And the more you drive, the more you'll save, both on fuel and maintenance far into the future. Start seeing savings today. Learn more at ladwp.com/EV. That's ladwp.com/EV.
Less BS per broadcast. Fewer microaggressions per megawatt. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Tavis, Smiley. Glad to have you with us in this final half hour of our program today. Starting 2 years ago with mostly, this is a fascinating story here, starting 2 years ago with mostly double-digit views per video, just double-digit views per video, the Hollingsworth family never imagined that their children's YouTube series, Gracie's Corner, would grow into a national sensation, racking up tens of millions of views per month. We should all be so lucky, right? An educational cartoon for children featuring mostly black and brown characters, the channel introduces soulful nursery rhymes incorporated with elements of hip-hop, reggae, Afro-beat, and pop, all voiced by the Hollingsworth's daughter, Gracie. The family-friendly content highlights black culture, breaks boundaries in education, and empowers viewers in a unique way. I am delighted to be joined now by the patriarch of the Hollingsworth family, Dr. Javoris Hollingsworth. Doc, how are you, sir?
Doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, man, it's great to have you on. Before I jump into this conversation, let me just say two things right quick. One, I want to play a clip for those who've not seen it, and I don't know who hasn't seen it because it's getting millions of downloads every month. But I was so tickled. You'll appreciate this, Doc. So my board out, Miles, he's the guy you talked to when you came on the line. I don't know if he told you, but he's so excited. He has his first niece ever. And she is a huge fan of Gracie's Corner. And so he and his mother and family are going to Atlanta where the niece lives for the holidays to spend some time with the niece. First baby in the family. Everybody's loving on this baby. And they're looking everywhere trying to find Gracie merch, Gracie's Corner merch to take to the baby. So I'm just curious, are y'all doing merch already?
Well, we have some e-commerce where, you can buy plush dolls, T-shirts, onesies, stuff like that on our online website. But we're also in the works of trying to get into retail stores. So this is something that we're hoping to roll out in the upcoming year.
Okay, so Miles needed to hear that. His mama needed to hear it. So now they know where to go to get all the merch. But they are intent on taking some Gracie's Corner merch to their niece, her granddaughter, of course, when they go visit her in Atlanta. Here's some sounds from Gracie's Corner.
Gracie's Corner. There's so many features that make each of us special and unique. One of my favorite themes is my hair. Hey, 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 yeah. Look in the mirror and who do I see? E-I-O. Someone that's beautiful staring at me. E-I-O. A smile so bright with sun-kissed skin. From within, hey, hey, living my life so free, hey, hey, natural hair, lovely, hey, hey, it doesn't matter if it's up or it's down, hey, hey, proud of my hair cause it is my crown.
I hate to step on Gracie's Corner because it sounds it's so cool, and now you see why it's getting tens of millions of downloads every single month. Dr. Hollingsworth, as I said, I can't imagine that y'all knew this thing's going to blow up the way that it has, but tell me about the genesis of this project.
Yeah, so for us, it started really at the height of the pandemic, where everyone was pretty much at home all the time together. So I was working from home as a college professor, and my kids were also learning from home, and it really gave us an opportunity to spend more time together and kind of see what each person does in their day-to-day routine. But while watching some of the content that they were watching, I saw that there was very little content out there that starred our children where they were in the forefront. And for me, that was a problem because I feel like all children deserve to feel special and be recognized. And I felt like there was that void there where children of color really weren't getting that love that I felt that they deserved. So we felt this need and we tried to address it by being proactive and starting Gracie's Corner.
you were a college professor, so I assume that prior to this, you had not really operated in this space, or had you?
No. So I was learning on the fly, man. It's crazy. So I mean, to anybody who's in the industry or working in this area, much respect to you, because so I was, using YouTube and using all these tutorials to find out how to make like an at-home studio, how to write scripts, how to kind of piece it all together. But the only thing I can't do is the animation. We outsourced that piece, but all the other things, it just took a matter of taking out time to really learn it.
Yeah, I'm just amazed, and I love Black people, and I love our creativity, I love our ingenuity, I love everything about us. And sometimes we ain't easy to love, and I still love us. And I love us because of this. We will figure out how to make something happen. Exactly. Whether we've operated in that space or not, we would just figure it out. I mean, I am fortunate and blessed to be doing radio and television for 30 years of my career, and I didn't study telecommunications in school, but I knew that I'd been blessed with a gift, and I knew that I had a voice that I could use to love and serve my people, and I just worked my way through this. And who knew that one day I'd end up owning this and owning that? But again, I wasn't a business major, but all these things that just happened, I believe, as the Bible says, if you perfect your gift, it will make room for itself. You perfect the gift you have, and other things will start to open up for you. And you'll find that you can do many other things beyond the one thing that you thought you had perfected. But again, I'm completely blown away by the success you've had. Let me just put some numbers on this. When I said a moment ago, it's got tons of views. So far, and I want to underline so far, this content has reached 170 million views on TikTok. That's 170 on TikTok. 1.2 million subscribers on YouTube with millions of combined views. They got tons of Instagram followers, tons of followers on Facebook. When you started doing the research to figure out how to make this happen, because you realized, you and your wife, Arlene Gordon Hollingsworth, the co-founder here, realized that there wasn't the kind of content for your children that you wanted them to have. What made you know or think or believe that you could get in this space and put something out there that others might appreciate? Like, where did that confidence come from?
Honestly, it just came from seeing that void and kind of understanding that there's a need where our children really need to be able to see themselves too. Just because if you're seeing all these other characters and you don't identify with none of them and you constantly seeing this, you start to question like, okay, is something wrong with me? Do I belong? So it kind of started from that. But starting out, man, I remember when the only people viewing it was probably my mom and maybe a few other relatives.
Yeah, so, I said double digit to begin with. You had double digits just to start. Yeah.
And that was tough. Anyone who starts in the YouTube space, that's extremely tough, especially when you're investing your time and your money into trying to get this thing off the ground, but you're getting nothing in return. So it was really like almost like just stepping out in faith. And luckily, my wife believed in it as well. And so, there were points where she kind of gave me the side eye, like, okay, we used to be spending money on this thing, and there's just zero return. But it was just a labor of love. Yeah. And then just with time, especially with social media, man, the amount of love that we receive from different families, celebrities, people who just posting videos, whether it's young kids or grandparents dancing to the songs, like it's just been amazing to see.
Yeah. So was there something that happened? I mean, obviously something happened, but what can you pinpoint, as you look back on that moment, can you pinpoint what happened to blow the thing up? Because again, you start out with double-digit views. Obviously, the passage of time helps, but I know all kind of folk who put stuff out, and a whole lot of time has passed, and they still ain't got no traction yet. So it doesn't happen for everybody. So what happened, Dr. Hollingsworth, that made this thing start jumping?
Yeah, I think it was probably around April or May of this year. It was a combination of things. There was one where his mom posted herself cleaning up in her house, I guess, and she was watching her kid watch our content. Mm-hmm. And then the kid, I guess the mom was kind of like, whoa, wait a minute, what's this? And then they say, she completely started vibing out. And then I think that was one of the viral moments. Then I also saw a time where I don't know who was the influencer, but someone over in, I think it was Vietnam, they got on into it, and then it went viral there. So it's just these little viral spurts where it just started getting caught on by many people, and apparently for some people it kind of stuck, and they've been loyal followers, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, let's underline that word apparently like 12 times. He says apparently. Yeah, when you got 170 million views on TikTok, yeah, I think we can dispense with the word apparently.
Yeah.
How about obviously as opposed to apparently? Obviously.
Yeah,
it has struck.
I like that one. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go with obviously over apparently. When we come forward, I want to talk specifically about the content, because what's making it work is not just the cute beat of the song. I love the beat of that song we were listening to a moment ago, but the content is what's working. And I want to talk about how you create this content. We're talking to Dr. Graceyn Hollingsworth, Gracie's daddy, on KBLA Talk 1580.
Be sure to like and follow Tavis Smiley at The Real Tavis Smiley and get Twitter updates at Tavis Smiley. The conversation continues when we come forward.
Black music and entertainment OGs still making moves. Maisha Cairo here with your K-Black Minute News. First stop, Bobby Brown announces upcoming world tour with New Edition in 2023. Ricky Bell, Michael Bivins, Ronnie DeVoe, Ralph Tresvant, and Bobby Brown. According to Brown, the group's bond is too strong to permanently break. In other news, Gladys Knight is awarded with Kennedy Center honors from President Joe Biden. The 7-time Grammy Award winner Gladys Knight, 78 years old, received the Kennedy honors for her contribution to the arts. And if you didn't know, the Empress of Soul will soon be releasing a scripted miniseries about her life that she is executive producing. And last stop, Mike Tyson and Ice Cube sit down for a chat, and Ice Cube reveals that he's doing what he can to regain control of the Friday franchise to, quote, make the fans happy. That's your K-Black Minute News.
Hi, this is Stevie Wonder, and nothing can stop this love. It's back. Join me at my 24th House Full of Toys benefit concert, Saturday, December 17th at the Microsoft Theater.
Please bring an unwrapped toy
Or a gift of joy, and make this a day of giving to the young and old.
Stevie Wonder.
My 24th House Full of Toys benefit concert.
Tickets on sale now at AXS.com.
Produced by Wonder Productions and promoted by AEG.
KBLA Talk 1580 invites you to join us in celebrating the season of giving by being part of the solution. As we enjoy great food, family, warmth, and well wishes in whatever our festive tradition may be, we share the beauty of the season by reaching out to the less fortunate. Please help us to help others with the KBLA Cover the Houseless Cozy Community Coat and Blanket Drive. All you have to do is drop off new or clean, gently used winter coats and blankets in the KBLA lobby during business hours. Now through December 20th, all of the coats and blankets will be donated to unsheltered individuals and families experiencing houselessness. Simply bring your donation to 4434 Crenshaw Boulevard in Los Angeles, near Vernon Avenue, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. weekdays. That's 4434 Crenshaw in historic Leimert Park. During the holidays and every day, let's remember, we keep us safe. We keep us warm. We are the safety net. And together, we can cover the unsheltered. Get caught up in the spirit of the season, the spirit of love. Make a difference with your friends at KBLA Talk 1580.
Let's unpack a little bit more with Tavis Smiley. The conversation continues right now.
This is the phonic song. Got us reading all day long. This is the phonic song. Phonic song. What sound does that letter make? Tell me. What sound does that letter make? Break it down, sound it out, yeah, you heard. Put the sounds together, now we're reading words. A says ah, 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 ah. Ah, ah, apple, ah, 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 apple. B says book, 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 ball, ball.
It's called the Phonics Song. I love it. It's called the Phonics Song. Our guest in this hour is Dr. Graceyn Hollingsworth. the patriarch of the Hollingsworth family, and they are the family behind Gracie's Corner, this YouTube series that has completely blown up, and everybody is checking out Gracie's Corner, because if you want content that works for your black or brown baby, then the Hollingsworth family is giving it to you through this creative project called Gracie's Corner. I played the phonics song because I mentioned Dr. Hollingsworth, my board out Miles. His mother, his name is Lisa, so she's the grandmother, and this is their first grandbaby. So you know how grandparents are about their first grandbaby. So this is Miles' mother, Lisa, and this is her grandbaby who loves Gracie's Corner so much, and she called Miles. She's listening, of course, and called Miles and said, "Play the phonics song. I love the phonics song, and your niece loves the phonics song. Can you play the phonics song?" So it's amazing the way things get on the air around here. But that's for you, Miss Lisa, the phonics song for your grandbaby that she loves so much. So let's talk about content right quick. So how do you go about creating this content, the writing, the music, the performance? Just talk to me briefly about content on Gracie's Corner.
Yeah, so from the music perspective, so to give it more background, because I was a professor at FAMU for a year, then I moved on to Houston, was a professor at University of St. Thomas, but my true background from the beginning was being a musician, playing the drums and keyboard at church, being a band geek in the marching band, but, you know, I ended up, things kind of went full circle. Now I'm back into music, but from the music side, I try to make sure that, you know, I tap into the type of music that we, you know, culturally relevant to us, as far as like the reggae, the Afro-beats, the hip hop, just really trying to mix it up and expose the kids to the wide range of things that we bring to the table. And then,
so are you doing most of the music or a lot of it?
Well, I write all the music, but as far as like the making of the beats, it's a combination of me as well as collaborating with other producers.
Gotcha.
But all the songwriting right now, I do all of that solo. It may get to a point where I may try to pull in some help, but right now I've been manning the station. But that, and then for the content itself, it's a combination of me as well as my wife. My wife, she's a psychologist, so any type of songs that you hear where there's almost like some mental health related concepts, that's all her idea. I mean, I just put the stuff in song form where it's like, you know, melodic or whatever, but the content itself, like that's her. So like, for instance, we did this song about teaching kids how to cope with, you know, anger or feeling afraid, where it teaches them how to take deep breaths, do these breathing exercises. So that, and then there's also topics that we choose that's based on, you know, whatever holidays that we have coming up. So we did like a Juneteenth song. We did a song for MLK, where we really touching on these topics that we think are important for our kids to kind of gain an understanding about.
Yeah, I love it. I'm just taking it all in. Javoris and Arlene are getting down. The Hollingsworth are doing it, man. And Gracie's Corner is all that. Our remaining moments with Dr. Javoris Hollingsworth when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
Central Neighborhood Health Foundation is a full-service network of federally qualified health care centers that serves local communities throughout Los Angeles, Riverside, and San Bernardino counties. CNHF clinics provide low-cost to no-cost, compassionate, comprehensive, quality health care, which includes primary care services for chronic disease and diabetes management, pediatric and women's services, preventive care, vision and dental screenings, COVID-19 testing and vaccines, flu vaccines, behavioral health, HIV and substance use services. Virtual telehealth visits are available from the comfort of your home with highly qualified physicians and medical professionals. CNHF also provides peer support specialist training and help with housing navigation. Central Neighborhood Health Foundation. Your wellness is our priority. Comprehensive care built on trust and respect. For more information, visit cnhfclinics.org or call 213-536-5815 today to locate a clinic near you.
East West Players brings you the stage play Brothers Paranormal by Prince Gomovilas, directed by Jeff Liu, November 17th through December 11th. After a nationwide increase in sightings of Asian-looking ghosts, two Thai brothers, one from Thailand and one from the American Midwest, struggle to launch a ghost hunting business and are called to the home of an African-American couple displaced from Hurricane Katrina. This suspenseful, humorous, compassionate exploration of the trauma of leaving home, whether crossing the country, the globe, or the other side, is a play for everyone. Get tickets now through December 11th at eastwestplayers.org. eastwestplayers.org.
Conversations that matter. You're listening to Tavis Smiley on KBLA Talk 1580.
I've only got a few minutes left, and I could do this for an hour or more with Dr. Hollingsworth. I just love the backstory behind the success of Gracie's Corner. We just looked it up during the break because we were curious. You ready for this? 540 million views on YouTube and counting in 2 years.
Yep.
540 million views.
Yeah, it's unreal.
It's unreal, man. I'm laughing because I'm kind of mad at you, Dr. Hollingsworth, because I was in the church choir. As a matter of fact, I was director of the church choir. Man! And I was second chair in the saxophone section in the band. And I ain't got 540 million views on nothing. So, man, but it's such a great concept. So let me ask you. I got about just a few minutes left here. So how is this consuming the time of you and your wife now? I mean, are you guys no longer working elsewhere? Is all your time spent doing this now, I assume?
Yeah. So I ended up leaving the professor gig, and now I'm just a full-time CEO / music producer for Gracie's Corner. But my wife, she's still in the field. She teaches at Texas Southern University, so she's a psychology professor there, and she still has her clinical practice. So she's still going at it. But it got to a point where I was juggling the professor work and then Gracie's Corner, but it just started moving so fast, so I had to make a decision. And I saw the impact of the channel, and I was like, okay, I got to go this direction.
So I assume she's no longer giving you the side eye now.
No,
okay.
not anymore.
Yeah,
but it was a rough time, man.
I know it was rough at one point, but I know she ain't give you the side eye no more. She checking that bank account these days. No side eye, no side eye. How old is Gracie now?
So when we first started, she was 7 going on 8, but she just recently turned 10.
Yeah.
It's crazy to see the growth of the channel as well as her growth. And, I've been seeing she's becoming more confident. And just, I don't know, it's been awesome to see that development.
Yeah. Is she enjoying the process? I assume she is.
Yeah, she's enjoying it. And, we try to shield her from a lot of the, in addition to the good things that are out there, there's also some noise.
Sure.
Trying to keep her protected, and it's been fine. So she still lives a pretty normal life.
That's good. That's
good. Yeah, it's been great.
Now, there's always going to be noise, man. There's always going to be noise, always going to be haters, as you well know, but y'all keep doing what you're doing. And I'm glad that Gracie is now 10 and enjoying it. They've been everywhere, on Forbes, on the Today Show. Everybody is talking about this, and we finally got our schedules together to get them on this program, and I could not have been more delighted to spend some time with Dr. Graceyn Hollingsworth. It's called Gracie's Corner. If you didn't know, now you know, and you can add to that. I'm sure that 540 number is going to jump today because now there are more black folk who know about it. Dr. Hollingsworth, congratulations, my friend. Give my best to your bride, and just an honor to have you on this program. We'll do it again somewhere down the road, I promise. Take care of yourself, and happy holidays, sir.
All right. Thank you, Tavis. You have a great one.
Thank you, man. My great honor. That's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it just half as much as I did. Back tomorrow morning, Lord willing, to do it all over again. 9 a.m. to 12 noon Pacific time. Time now for the KBLA Midday Money Chain. Until tomorrow morning, thanks for tuning in. And as always, keep the faith.
Feeling good, getting healthy, strong. That's right, it's the workout song. Get ready, work out, let me see you work out. Bunny hop to the right. Bunny hop to the right, to the right, to the right. Bunny hop to the left. Bunny hop to the left, don't hurt yourself.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black.